All right.
You look really warm right now.
Yeah, yeah. It
Is it
is.
cold in the office?
Yeah, always. It's either one or the other.
Yeah, it looks like it's 30 degrees in there based on your accent. All right, so let's dive right in. So how long have you been in real estate now?
Over 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
What inspired you to get into real estate?
So my father actually decided to be a realtor the worst time that he could during the 2008,
Oh man.
2007 crash.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of got introduced then. I would go to the office with him. He would be making calls. I was there playing my video games or whatever online.
Were you in high
Um,
school back then? Or
no, I was very young. I was 8 years old.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be 24 in December, so I'm
Nice.
still a baby. Um, so he kind of got a glimpse of the real estate world. It wasn't a great time, and
Yeah.
long story short, went down to Florida for an oil spill, came back, and then he started doing custom builds. So he actually started with modular homes, and I would go to the sites with him and see that build from start to finish. And then he got into custom homes and upping his he was also in the he has his plate full, but pretty much my father introduced me to real estate construction world, seeing that part of it. I was watching HGTV like voluntarily, 7 years old, very much into it, and like
Uh,
just seeing, I remember there was one time he he just had finished this home for a couple and their family. We got to know the family very well, and I remember they were just so happy bringing them medical arrangements, and they got their new home. So I guess from then on, it was always on my mind. Through high school, I did go to a vocational school and I studied nursing.
oh, wow.
Um, Long story short, I'm a fainter, so I could not go far into the nursing world. I did a semester of nursing for college and then was like, I can't do it after many clinicals and dealing with all that. So, right out of high school, I took my real estate exam.
Oh, so you
Um,
already. Oh.
I'm sorry, right out of high school, I did the course. I
Mhm.
went off to college, and from then on, sorry about that. Went off to college, never took the exam, only did the course, never took the exam. By the time I was like back on real estate, oh, I need to do this, I went to go try to do the exam, and I had the time frame from the course to the when you could take the exam had expired. So I had to retake the course, and then I finally went for the exam, passed. I started off at a mom and pop brokerage, actually, where my father held his license for all these years, and kind of learned the old school way, but wasn't the greatest fit. So I spoke with the vice president of where I'm at now, and that's when I made the switch to Remax, and I've been here ever since.
Oh, so you switched over to Remax. So how has that been?
Yep. It's been awesome. Awesome. The trainings they have, leadership, mentoring, my VP, she was definitely my right hand girl and, showed me everything within a week span of home inspection showings, etc. And just that in-person training is just way better. And I definitely learned a lot from her. So very grateful I had her, even with the questions that I had, always try, even now, like even after all these years, I still will call her sometimes and say, hey, just, double checking because I rather get another opinion, of course, and that's the reason why you're at a brokerage, just getting that second opinion, and I'm second guessing myself or something. Just oh yeah, I would do that too. That reassurance is always great.
Does Remax help you get leads?
They offer it, yes. So we have KV Core, which is through the website that we have.
Mhm.
Leads would come in through there. Say I posted the website and somebody went in there and logged in their information to view a home. I would get a lead through there, or they offer Zillow. I was on Zillow for a little bit, but I don't care for it too much. So I decided to part ways with Zillow for now.
Wait, hold on. Zillow is really expensive. So when you say they offer Zillow, who's paying?
The co-owners, the both of the owners put into it, lenders put into it, you know.
The agents don't have to put into it.
The thing with the agents, it's optional, but if you're on the group Zillow, so pretty much it's like a big team per se, and your phone rings and you're kind of going against each other who's going to answer first. But then it's a 50-50 split no matter what. If it's a Zillow call, it's 50-50, despite what your commission split is aside from Zillow.
So your splits are always 50-50, whether it's Zillow or not.
No, no. So with
Oh,
Zillow, it is just because they put in that
oh.
money. I mean, starting off, everybody's different, their experience, et cetera, I'm assuming. But like a new agent, if they came into the office, they would be 50-50, no experience, et cetera. And then they would have to work their way up to 75-25, and then they can cap out at 95-5.
Oh, the new agents get have to pay more, and then the veterans have to pay less of the commission.
Yeah, it depends on your sales. But with Zillow, say like I'm at a 95-5 split, right? So if I
Oh,
did Zillow and I worked my way up to that, if I did Zillow and I got the lead off Zillow and we sold the home, I would be paying 50-50 because they need to get their return somehow, you know.
right, because Zillow is really expensive. So right now
Oh yeah.
you have a 5% commission fee.
The 5% goes to the brokerage. Yes.
No matter how big the sale. Wow, 5% is really good because the
Yeah.
average is like 30%.
Right, right. So that's where you cap out at, and then your fi the month that you joined, it would renew. So say, I joined in November, so late November. So November of this year, it would, after that date that I joined, it would go back to 75-25. Once you're at 75-25, it stays there, and then you have the year of when you started. Essentially, it goes by that date that you joined the office, it'll restart. So I have until, say it restarts. I don't even know my exact day to be honest with you, but say for easy numbers, it restarts December 1st. I
Mhm.
have, it depends how many sales I get, but if I bring in, I believe it's 22,500 around there into the office, then I cap out again and I have all that time. It depends how long it takes you to cap out, really. But once you get to that 75-25, you stay there.
Interesting. Because I've only been in HomeSmart myself, and for us, it's an $800 flat commission fee. There's no like percent. It's not even a percentage, and like
Oh, really?
it's 800 flat. So I'm very interested in these different models. I've actually never heard that model before. I mean, I
Yeah.
have spoken to other agents with Remax, but
Yeah.
I never heard of that model. So very
Yeah.
interesting. And
And I don't think it's all Remaxes. I believe, every office individually, chooses what works for them, you know.
every broker, I guess.
Broker, yeah. Right.
Interesting. And your broker, you like your broker, that you get
Yes.
with them, yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
help you get leads. That's good. So,
Yeah.
Mila, tell us about your very first year. I know you said it's been about 4 years now. Tell us about your first year. The first year is usually the hardest.
I will say I jumped into it and I was I don't want to say lucky, but a lot of my business is based off referrals, and it was one of my best years. I think this year I might be topping it. I'm pretty close to it, but my first year was my best full year.
Well, your first year was during COVID.
Yes, the
That,
end of COVID.
that's why it was so
Yeah,
good, I
yeah.
think, because
So
the interest
yeah,
rates were so low.
right, right. Oh yeah, I remember my first few clients, they were locked in at like 2%, 2.5. A few of them were at that, and then it started to go up to 5, and you know, kind of I got my biggest listing actually my first full year of real estate. It was 1.1 million in
Wow.
Charlestown, Mass. Yeah, so that's a little past Boston.
And you were the listing agent for that.
Yep, yep. Did one open house, cash offer the next day, done.
How did you find that client?
That was a referral from my mother's friend who she works with.
Interesting. Yeah,
Was
I
yeah.
feel like you got it at the perfect time because I was speaking to an agent the other day. She said during COVID, all you needed was your license. So I feel like
Yeah,
getting in
yeah.
during COVID was like the perfect time. And you know what happened was a lot of agents that got in around COVID have quit after because they couldn't stand the non-COVID, the regular numbers. So I heard that like within the last 2 years, a lot of
Yeah.
agents dropped off.
Right, right. I will say, and I'm definitely one of those that it's never enough kind of. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but sometimes I gotta take a step back and I'm like, okay, like for this year, for example, I'm doing very well, topping that first year in real estate that I did amazing. And it's like, you're doing great in this market, you'll be just fine because it's been very challenging, for other agents and whatnot. But just I go by, you get what you put into it at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
And I also learned like because you mentioned referrals, I also learned that like it seems like when you speak to agents, it's like the longer they have been on the job, the more and more it becomes referral based as opposed to like cold calling, door knocking. Like it becomes
Right.
more and more referral based over the years. Would you agree with
Yes.
that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep. This year actually is the first year I got a few repeat clients, which was great and good turnaround and just shows like I did a good job the first round and they trust me again to sell. And it wasn't ideal. It is a very short time period. But I was able to get them both actually to profit from the sale just by what the market has done equity wise. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's always a difficult, everybody's different, whether it's, job relocation, job opportunity closer to family was one, divorce was another, you can't time those things. So
Yep.
at the end of the day, people have to move. I get like the rates and whatnot, but those were two listings that I got and years prior they bought with me.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've had a pretty good beginning. So now I know that you mostly get it through referrals. Do you still cold call? Do you still door knock? Do you still do all of those things?
I will say, not going to beat around the bush. I should be cold calling more than I do. That's something definitely, time blocking and time management needs to come into place. Um, I have more so door knocking, not so much unless I have somebody with me. These days, you don't know
Yeah.
who's crazy, who's not.
Yeah.
So for
You're
me to go out
alone.
there by myself, no.
Yeah.
But I have, I've done a few homes this year. Sometimes they don't answer, and you hear them walking around inside, and it's like, come on, just open the door. I just want to talk. But I've tried calling prior to going there. I won't just show up. Definitely more of a cold caller than a door knocker,
Yeah, me too. I mean, first of all, it's getting
though.
cold outside, and on top of that, like it's dangerous. And when you think about it, you can make calls a lot faster than you can go to homes when you really think
Yes,
about it.
yeah,
So it's actually,
absolutely.
I would say it's even more time efficient, less invasive, like showing up on someone's door, especially as a man, like sometimes I feel like it's invasive. I only went door knocking once, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, only
Okay.
once. And like you said, like I just started picking up the cold calling because in the beginning I was cold calling a lot, and then I kind of got discouraged, and then now I've been picking it back up. So, but I
Yeah,
would love to get to the point where like I'm getting so many referrals. I'm not
right,
there.
right.
I'm still pretty new, but I would love to get to that point. So,
And
Mila, walk us
yeah.
through a normal day in your shoes. What time do you wake up? Coffee or tea? Walk us through a normal day.
So, usually it would be like 6:30. I'm a coffee
Uh,
girl. Tea more so at night.
Okay.
I actually have my coffee over here.
Oh, is that Dunkin'?
That's a honeydew.
Honeydew. I
Yeah.
never had honeydew before.
There's not too many around here. It's even sparse. It's like here and there. So there's one right down the street from my office.
That was
Actually
an
got
iced
some.
coffee, right?
Yes, yeah.
That's
Despite the weather in New England, we always go for the ice.
that's why you're so cold because of that.
Yeah, so but I will, every day is different in real estate. There's definitely I try to go to the office when I can. But sometimes my morning is starting off with a showing. Like today, for example, I had a showing 9
Nice.
a.m. Um then I came to the office here, showings in the afternoon. I try, I have yoga a membership
Oh,
at a yoga place, so I will try. That's why every day is different. So when my classes are available, because you can't just it's not a gym, you can't go when you want type of deal.
uh-huh.
Sometimes I'm waking up at 4:30 and I'm making those
Wow.
5:15 classes. Yeah, and I'll do
4:30 is
back to
super
back.
early.
Yeah, I mean, with real estate, it's like you got to get it done in the morning. Otherwise, you never know how your afternoon's going to pan out. It can change within a phone call. Oh, I want to go see this house, or,
Yeah.
hey, can you get me into here? And if it's vacant, lockbox is available. We don't have to notify tenants or anything. We're going to get in there as soon as possible. So
So what time do you stop working? What time do you turn the phone off? Never?
Uh, it depends. I would, I've been, you know, up to 11:30 texting back
Wow.
clients on the calls.
Yeah.
I try to, at first, when I first started, I definitely, it was past midnight. I was still on the calls. And now I've learned, like,
Past
if I
midnight.
sleep, oh, yeah, yeah, I definitely did not have a balance. And that's something that I've learned over the years is you just need a work-life balance and shutting it off. If it can wait till tomorrow, it's going to wait till tomorrow. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Versus like if my client can't sleep over it, I'm going to try to reassure them and, try to get something done prior. So, but I think that's something definitely now more so I try to edge for like, okay, 9 o'clock, like shut it off and spend time with my family.
Nice. Oh, well, even 9 o'clock is pretty late when you think about it, you
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah.
Some
The
agents
latest
gotta,
for showings, I mean, even the other day I was at a property. I think I got home at like 7. It gets dark now at 6:30.
yeah,
So going in, I'm like, make sure you have your flashlight because,
flashlight.
but at the end of the day, we have to work around our clients' schedules. That's the whole thing. People have jobs. Sometimes they have a day off, and it's like, all right, I got to make this work, and trying to make the most of every day that we have available with them. And when I'm with my buyers, if we can do back-to-back showings on a weekend, that's what we're doing,
Right.
And I try to make every open house with them. If I can't, I'm gonna meet you at the private showing, of course, or giving that agent the heads up, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it if I have my own open house to host. But just so you know, my client's going to be heading there. I try to give that can't think of courtesy to the other people, because I know how it is with the open houses. I love when it's just letting me know, like, hey, to expect this one. Okay, now I know who to communicate because sometimes on those sign-in sheets you can't really tell that number or not.
Yeah. Oh, you do the paper side and see you don't like the
Yeah.
phone, the scan in, you don't like that?
No, not that fancy yet. I'm actually not that great with technology. I would love to get there. I actually just did an open house with a different mortgage lender, and he had the sign-in sheet that was digital, so it was really convenient. And he just sent me over the spreadsheet. It was amazing. So if I can get to that point and get an iPad and do that, I'm definitely going to do that. But
You
not
don't
right now. I have all the manual stuff.
you don't meet too many 24-year-olds that are bad with technology. But it's funny, well, because I've used the scan, and the thing is about that is like a lot of people are bad with technology themselves, so they don't know how to scan in, and then there's the Wi-Fi problem. And
Right, right.
back to what you were saying before about responding. If you don't respond and if you don't work around your client's schedule, they're just gonna move on to the next guy. They're
Yep,
gonna move on to the next agent. So that
yep.
it's really important to respond as fast as you can. And
Right,
at the same time, you do have to have a work-life balance, like you said.
right.
So you sound like you work 7 days a week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I still here and there I waitress. I've
Oh,
been
you
waitressing
waitress.
since yeah. I mean we joke and they're like family to me, the business owners of the restaurant, and I'm like one there once in a blue moon, but of course it's like every other Sunday I am scheduled, but then I have to get that Sunday schedule I'm sorry, covered if real estate's involved, if I have the day off, so to speak, or I can keep those showings till the afternoon once I'm out. I'm going to do that. It's just extra pocket money and it's more networking for me, I feel. My goal is somebody sees me and they think real estate. Oh, she does real estate. And I have mastered that with the regulars that come into that restaurant. So
Nice.
I'd say it's pretty good.
Yeah, of course, because at the end of the day, you're not going to choose like to be a waitress over like a viewing or over a showing. Like real estate
No,
takes a priority over being a waitress.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they go hand in hand because you can get leads that way. So they kind of go hand in hand. So
Yep.
Mila, what
Yeah.
inspires you to go into the office? Obviously, you have a computer at home. What inspires you to go to the office?
I would say, when I just need to, so I'm one of those people, if the house isn't clean to a T, I can't focus. So I'm thinking about laundry needs to be done or, dishes, whatever, putting the clothes away. I feel like when I'm in the office and nobody else is in the private office with me, I can just narrow down, I have a dog at home, so obviously that is sometimes going over my laptop at home. I definitely office is to like zone in, get what I need to get done. Definitely rather be here for calls. Never mind just the Wi-Fi and the connection's better over here than where I live. So I would say, calls, and it's just motivation's different. It's just like going to the gym versus working
Like
out at home.
home.
It's the
Mm.
environment too. And then say I have a question, I have other colleagues in the office that I can bounce ideas off of with versus having to call them out while I'm at home. I definitely prefer to be in the office when I can be. But most of the time, I will say my car is my office.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, because I'm an Uber driver too. So
Oh,
that's how
no
I feel.
kidding.
So but it looks like you have nice and quiet. You're by yourself, so I'm sure
Yeah,
that's nice at home. Like you said, you have a dog, so it seems
yeah,
your
yeah.
office is probably more quiet than it is at home. Mila, what is your favorite thing about being a realtor?
I would say seeing the impact you make on people and just guiding them through the biggest milestone in their life.
Hmm.
I've seen all kinds of situations, and like I said to you before, divorce or job relocation, you name it. I've seen a lot, and it's just the impact and guiding somebody through this huge process, because a lot of people don't. I mean, some people think they have an idea, but they really don't know down to logistics and being there. I go more so like I'm guiding you through it. I will go through a home and say this. I love to pick out a house. I will say it the lipstick on a pig, for example. Okay. You don't have to. Have you ever heard that phrase?
I don't think so. I
No. So that's when like a flipper per se, sprays the house and puts down cheap flooring and all right, done,
Okay, I should
but
write that
it's
down.
B-rigged. Yeah, we see a lot of them unfortunately, but and then you see homes where you can see the home ownership pride, and they've taken good care of the property, but just guiding my clients and the reward of they're happy, and whether they're buying or selling, it's a good feeling to feel like you were a part of this. There was one special one. I mean, they're all special in their own ways, but one that was newer was my client. Actually, I was the first person, I believe, that they told they were pregnant.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
why they went from renting, and all of a sudden they were like, no, we need to buy now. And then she told me why. And I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, definitely will keep this between us. But just like that. And then now seeing the aftermath of now they have their home and their baby has been born and they're starting their little family. Like those
Right.
are precious, precious moments. So makes
Yeah,
me
you're
happy.
changing lives in real estate. You're
You
changing
are.
lives, and you're helping them with literally probably the most important decision they'll ever make in their life. So yeah,
Right.
you're definitely changing lives. It is interesting that you said this is your first full-time job.
Um, well, so in high school, yeah, I guess you could say it's my first full-time, like a big girl job. I guess so, yeah. Because out of high school, I had my CNA license through that certified nurse assistant. I was working in a nursing home. That's when I decided I wanted to be a nurse, but I was doing all those clinicals and the fainting issues. So I always had, even through high school, I had three jobs. I had the CNA job because that was like a co-op situation. Half the time you went to school, half the time you worked. And then I had two waitressing jobs. So I was always been working waitressing. I started since I could. I have a lot of family businesses. Um, I started off at, but yeah, I would say real estate is the first full-time big girl job.
Yeah, like the first real job with a real salary, and
Yes.
that's really interesting to me because when you look at when I speak to agents, I would say a solid like 95% of agents started later. They started in the 30s, 40s, 50s. I think the average age for a realtor is like 53 or something like that. And
Yeah.
everyone pretty much says the same thing, which is I wish I got it earlier. I wish I started
Hmm.
earlier. Even me, like I started at 34. I wish I started earlier. So, like it's really interesting because you're one of the very few people that I know who started at such a young age, which is really good,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now with you, you don't have to say I wish I started earlier. You
Right,
started at
right.
the
Well,
perfect
actually, I
time.
mean, I do wish I started right out of high school like I initially planned, but going away to
Mm.
college and trying to figure out, I was always looking for like that backup plan. So ideally in a perfect world, if I could handle it, I would be a per diem nurse too right now. That would be great, because real estate is up and down, but it's the matter of you again, you get what you put into it. And I feel like if you want to be successful in the business, you have to be full time. I know a lot of people who are still part timers, and even to work with agents that are part time, it's tough because it's like you're trying to get a hold of them for a deal, and you have deadlines to reach, and they're working their full time job, and this is just a part time gig. I never wanted that. It was more of like a backbone. So from nursing, realizing, okay, mentally, for whatever reason, you can't handle this because of the fainting. And I kept transferring colleges, trying to like find a backup. Like, well, what am I going to have stability wise? It was real estate, but real estate was always a pinpoint. And I talked to multiple people about this. My father, who's been in it, my mother's husband, who's very financially smart. And he's like, he just mentally, it was just, you need to go all in. If you want to be successful, you have to go all in. And my goal is to be an investor myself,
Yeah.
get properties under my belt, more doors, the better. Not afraid to be a landlord here. That is the goal, and then start house flipping eventually.
Yeah,
So,
that seems to be most people's goals, especially most realtors' goal. To build equity, and now that we have our foot in the door, it's going to be a
right.
lot easier. We have access to MLS. We have connections. We know other realtors. We know loan officers, so it's a lot easier to get there. But when you have your foot in the door, Mila,
Yeah,
what is your? Go
my
ahead.
office has a lot of agents as well. So something that I see as an advantage, especially in this market, is the non-MLS properties that we hold. So pretty much say I have a new listing coming. I'm going to put it out to my office only, see if anybody else in my office has a buyer for it, and then hopefully we can secure that as a non-MLS, doesn't even hit the market, deal. And that's definitely been beneficial this year as well, having that even for my buyers to show them, listen, you can skip the bidding wars, you can skip this, and here you go. You have exclusive access to these listings instead, and you can just skip what's on the market if it's suitable.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And back to what you were saying before about being full time versus part time. I was watching a YouTube video. This is while I was studying for the test
Yeah,
back in January, and it was of Graham Stephen, and he was saying, if you're going to be part time, don't even bother because you're competing with the people who are full time. So like if you're
right,
part time, it's like you're not going to get anywhere. And it's true. Like if you have a full time job, it's going to be really really hard to juggle both. And like you said you before you have to work around the client's schedule. So
right.
if they're available at 2 and you're not available at 2, they're just going to go to the next person. So it's really
Hmm.
tough. And if you're part-time, you're probably only going to sell for like friends and family, which is good, but it's not.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm dealing with one right now, so I feel some type of way about it, and I would definitely be, I would rather work with a full-time agent, but it is what it is, and you try to make the best out of it and just do right by your client at the end of the day.
You're working with a family member or a friend?
No, I am working with an agent who's part-time.
Oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
just the difficulty of, getting in touch with communication. Communication is huge, 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 and especially in this business and anything, but it's tough when they're part-time. So, I mean, a lot of people, and especially in my office, it's like, listen, if the part-timers hopefully will see their way out eventually, and it'll just be because everybody wanted to be a realtor. Everybody 2020, it's so easy. They
Right.
think it's so easy. Let me get my real estate license. It's not. It really isn't. And again, you get what you put into it, and you need the trainings, and like I'm constantly learning something new too
Yeah.
every day.
I
Every
mean,
day. You pass that exam, it's like, all right, now you're gonna learn the real stuff.
yep, the exam only
Yeah.
teaches you like 20% of what you need to know for
Yeah,
instance. Are you on a
right.
team?
So I am, yes. I am on Freedom Realty Group team. We're under Remax Vantage in Dartmouth. I definitely think that this team with my team leader, he pushes you, and he's a flipper himself. He creates his own inventory for the
Hmm.
most part, and that's where I want to be. So what better way than to have a mentor like him? Yes, I think it's definitely beneficial having him as he's, and it's like a tough love kind of relationship too, you say it bluntly, and sometimes we all need that too, not beating around the bush, he's the one like, you got to make those calls, you got to make those calls because I think we're all victim to it when we're busy and we have multiple deals going on and we are like, I've definitely you learn from your mistakes, but I've been in the situation where I have so much going on and then I close them all and I'm like, oh shit, what's next? So now it's more so, okay, having that time management, making those calls for to plan out because the goal is we all want consistency in this and that's how we're going to be successful. It's the consistency part of it.
Yeah, and consistency is especially hard to achieve in a down market. So, there are some agents like my broker was saying that, in the beginning, a team is good for helping you get leads and helping you learn, but then after some time, you'll want to break away from the team and be on your own because now, obviously there's commission splits with the team leader and this and that. So, would you agree that over time you want to be on your own, or do you plan to stay on the team for long term?
So I actually started out as an individual agent, so I guess you could say I did it backwards. So again, I started off at the mom and pop.
Hmm.
Really, he taught me how to use MLS and said, "All right, kid, hit the phone." So that's when I was doing a lot of cold calls, but I didn't have that background. I just passed the exam. I'm calling these homeowners trying to get a listing, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And
Right.
then I went to Remax, got the hands-on experience. I was an individual agent at our same brokerage as now, but at our Fairhaven office. And I was doing great, like I told you, pretty much all referral base. With the team now, it's not more so we have the option to be on Zillow, but he doesn't, he's not the team leader that will take more of a cut from you per se. So I'm getting the same advantages as if I was individual. So really, what I'm getting from him is my not his knowledge and leadership, and when I started out, more so when I just joined the team during an off, not a great time for me. I was working as an admin for him. But when it got to the point where, okay, I have my own stuff, I have to be out there, I can't be in the office 24/7 doing admin stuff. We took that part out and really focused. I'm just it's been a lot with the referrals. So eventually, just to get back to your question, later down the line, sure, I definitely by the end of this year I want to get my broker's license. But I don't,
Oh,
yeah, but I don't plan to go out on my own anytime soon. It's a lot of liability, and in taking on that is the goal, maybe 10 years from now to be a broker and have my own brokerage. We'll see how it pans out, but right now, I mean, I'm happy on the team, and until I get more into house flipping and whatnot, which is his specialty, I would stay on the team just until I feel suitable and comfortable to go on an adventure by myself. You know.
well, you said you're gonna get your broker's license soon. So once you do that, you're officially you officially don't need a broker. So that's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
yeah. But I would still stay here. I wouldn't go off. Yeah, I would just get it. Just, it's been a goal and I've told myself, once I hit that mark that I can get it, I'm gonna get it. So just need to take the course and take the test. But just to have under my belt, I mean, right now though, like I said, it until I'm comfortable and have a few flips under my belt, I don't see myself coming off of the team now.
I'm sure that test is gonna be hard. No?
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm more so, when I was studying for the real estate exam, it was more so going off of YouTube and listening to
Yeah.
Prep Agent Joe. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's
No.
amazing. Yeah, he really helps me. I'm always driving, so I would just he has different video clips of, topics on his YouTube, and I would just
Mhm.
play it over and over till I understood. It's easier for me to listen and reciprocate versus trying to read and reciprocate, so that's what
Yeah.
helps me a lot.
Oh
Hopefully he
yeah.
has some videos for brokers. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it yet.
No, I hate reading too. I honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I hated studying for the exam. I hated that. Like I was watching YouTube videos, I was making like voice recordings on GarageBand. Like I've never been a studier. I've
Yeah.
never been a studious guy. One day you're gonna open up your own brokerage.
Yes, that is the goal. One day, I would say 10, that's like a 10-year goal.
Yeah, I mean, if you get it within the next year, you could do it even sooner. The thing about that is it's a lot of overhead.
Mm-hmm. A lot of overhead, a lot of liability. It's a whole different ball game, and I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
Definitely not.
you need a lot of knowledge, and also doesn't that require a lot of capital too?
It does, but I would more so say, as a stepping stone before reaching out and going to get my own office, it would be having my own team and being the team leader within this office in this brokerage.
Hmm.
Um, because that's just a step down from what it is, having that team and then okay, once I'm ready or feel ready if needed, I'm happy here and I love the people here. I don't know if I would right now it doesn't even sound necessary or I love the support we have here. So, and the professionals I'm surrounded by. I feel like when you go to open your own brokerage, it's when you've outgrown where you're at more so, and I'm not there yet. There's definitely a lot of heavy hitters in here, and I'm not there yet.
You're not a top producing agent yet.
I actually, yeah, I'm
Oh,
one of
nice.
the, yeah, but there's people in here that are far above me, and I'm not there yet. I have room to grow before I go out on my own.
Well, it sounds like you have a really, really good circle, which is really important. And like when you have a really good circle, you don't want to leave that circle, like
Right,
and
right. I know.
it's not even all about money, like it's nice to have a good circle and a good
Yeah,
team, a good support, you know what I'm saying?
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And to lose that, I mean, not lose it because I'm sure they would still answer my phone calls, but to not be surrounded by it and you're just taking on a whole, I would have to have those doors under my belt property wise and done a few flips house wise. So I have a ways to go. That's why 10 years out. We'll see how it goes. But it is
Yeah.
a goal. It's been a goal.
Yeah, it's my goal to be a broker too, and it's a very good goal. It's a very difficult goal, but it's a good one. Mila, do you have any tips for new agents?
Yes. Get a good mentor
Yeah.
for sure. On site, do do open houses every weekend. Every weekend you should be at open
Even if they're not your
houses.
listings.
No, no, because then you can capture a buyer potentially, or you're just putting your face out there. You're putting your face out in front of other agents, getting to know that because it's very important to have a relationship with other agents as well, when you're surrounding towns. And it really does help when you're in a bidding war, knowing other, having other relationships with other agents. It's cutthroat business, but there's good ones out there. But get a great mentor, be at every open house, whatever you can every weekend, get in the office, take all the trainings you can get and just study it. You have to have a passion for what you're doing. In this, you need to have a passion for real estate to be successful. That's the other thing. You need to be consistent. You need to have a passion for it. You're just doing this because you think it's quick money. It's not. I've had clients, I still have clients where I've been working with since I started and they haven't
Mhm.
bought anything, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
You haven't
Yeah.
dropped them off yet?
No, no. I know them personally, so I know like they're not per se tire kickers, but I don't know if you've heard that term.
Mila, where
But
can people find you?
Dartmouth, Massachusetts, 77 State Road, Unit 1.
Gotcha. And I'll leave your Instagram and whatever else you want
Thank
below.
you.
It
Yeah.
was so great talking to you.
Nice talking to you. Have a great
Have a good
day.
one, Mila. Take care. Bye.
Bye.